Hey guys, how are you guys doing? So this is going to be a video blog. This stems from a conversation I had with a coworker of mine today. I'm just getting off work, so I felt the burning urge to make sure I made this video because this is kind of a therapy for me. So my disclaimer first and foremost is these are my thoughts and my opinions alone. If you do not agree with it, you don't have to. They're my thoughts, my opinions. So, the conversation stemmed that my coworker, she is Mexican Caucasian and she's married to an African American gentleman. So they have 6 children together. And so the conversation just struck a nerve in me that, it's been an issue that I've been dealing with for almost 20 years. I've been in the United States for 20 years. And my mom is African. My dad is African. I was born in Africa. I was born in Freetown, Sierra Leone, West Africa, in Kisii. So, my dad brought me here in the United States, and coming from Africa, we have a very, very, very close knit family, and it was the most, I had a pretty decent sized family. Let me say that. So my core family is still in Africa, my mom and things like that, but I still have a few biological blood related family members here in the United States. But it made me think about when an issue that I've been dealing with as an adult, as a child, and as an adult. Being here in the United States, in Africa, people's homes used to be very open, and you can walk into someone's door, home, your neighbor or whatever, and you guys would just sit down, have a conversation, blah blah blah, whatever, and break bread and be joyous and merry. But here in the United States, everybody's a little bit closed off. So when I came to the United States, I was felt a little bit displaced, and I tried to gravitate towards my African family, the African community here in the United States. But unbeknownst to me, that the African community doesn't gravitate to each other. Even though Africans would like to pride themselves in how close knit they are and how family oriented they are, that's some straight up bullshit. That's some real straight up bullshit. My experiences with a lot of the Africans have been where I felt like I was literally a leper. And as a child, when they come to the United States, lose their tradition, lose their culture, lose their way of being. And even for my dad refuses, to speak our native language with me. My mom, every single time I talk to her, she calls me, we're speaking in my native tongue. And my dad would speak it with everybody, like my uncles, his friends, his family members, but we'll never speak it. My home was never, I see a lot of African Americans who try to be very Afrocentric by having, African statues, drums, and things like that all over their homes. But in African household, you would not see too many African artifacts. You see a lot of Western items, flat screen TVs, big old couches, all those other type of things. But you see rare and few African artifacts in their homes. And so it just, when Africans come to the United States, they become fake and their own Africans, their own African American community. African children are being brought up to have a lot of superiority complex where they are being taught that they're better and they should be better than other people. When you two piss pots away from shitting back at the outhouse. And it pisses me off so much that, Africans are, in the United States, and they forget about Africa. When Africa is what made you the person that you are. What brought you to the place that you are at now. Yes, America is the land of the free, the land of the opportunity, and so on and so forth. But African Americans embrace everybody and anybody with no judgments or no preconceived notions. But with Africans, no. If we do not accept too many people, we're always having our nose in the air or think we're always better than somebody when you're really not. And you go to Africa, they go to Africa with all these fancy clothing, name brand clothing, and fancy cars and things like that. When most of these people in Africa will take a lifetime before they can ever be able to obtain some of these things. And it breaks my heart when I went to college. I got a full scholarship and tuition for my tuition and my books. And I told the African community, some of my family members in the African community, that I was going to college and I was going to school for international marketing. As a child, I knew that when I wasn't going to come to America to just settle. I was going to go back to Africa one day to make a difference, because that was my goal and my objective. Because Africa is me and I am Africa. Africa flows through my veins. I love my country. I love, all what Africa has been and will continue to be. I told myself I was going to go back to Africa to develop a manufacturing company for import and export. Most people will, be excited about, your child having such big dreams. But my family members and the African community look down upon that because, I'm following a dream, but it's a piss pot dream. It's not me being an engineer, and it's not me being nursing. It's not me being a lawyer or me doing something in the medical field. And it hurt my heart for me to know that me doing all that I've done and me achieving all that I did mattered. Me going to school, working a job, keeping a 4.0 GPA, National Honor Society. All those other type of things were never celebrated, but looked down upon because I decided I wanted to follow a dream and I wanted to make a difference. And with my friends in the African American community, were so that I'm African, I can't go to my African family or my African community for nothing. I have a friend who I was going through some stuff in my life that, no one knows. No one. I consider her to be like kind of my secret keeper. Weakness or get overly emotional, it's weakness. And, it's not understood. And I feel like, being judged. I was going through this situation in my life where I should have took my ass right back home and, try to regroup myself. But I was so fearful because of being judged by my own African community, or being ridiculed, or, being told, oh, you're a failure, or, just be uncomfortable. But when I used to talk to my African American friends, they're like, girl, you should not feel afraid or feel ashamed to have failed. Everybody fails. But I felt so fearful by my African community that I was like, I'm not about to be ashamed. I'm not about to be shamed or bring shame to my dad or my family. So I'm going to tough it out. Which was, it was a good thing, but then it's a bad thing. Because I got myself in so many situations and so many predicaments, which I don't think anybody should have. Just because of fear of being shamed or fear of being ridiculed. And even till this day, I'm a grown-ass woman. I refuse to interact with the African community. As a child, as a teenager, I had an aunt where, I used to go to her. I used to babysit her kids and take care of her kids. And I thought, me doing that, she will embrace me. And a lot of Africans are like, oh, you're... She made me feel like I was weak. As a child, I was weak for me to express that thought, that feeling, that hunger, that need. And when I had that experience similar to that with my African American's mom, similar to that, because the fact of the matter was, I felt like me not having my mom around, I felt a need to have a woman in my life. And my father, the man that he was, he didn't feel like he needed to have a woman in his life to raise his child. Adult now, thinking about how I was treated. I had, as a teenager, I was a handful because I felt rebellious. I felt lost. I didn't know what to relate to, who to relate to, because I just didn't know. This woman that my uncle was dating, I call her my godmom now. She took time out of her life to try to mend me because I was so freaking broken. I there was something not complete about me. The scars of a child has carried on to the scars of an adult. And I feel more welcome and more embraced by my African American friends than I ever have or ever will feel by the African community. And it's sad for me to ever say this. I love Africa, but the people of Africa are just bullshit. When they come to the United States, they become just regular old Tom, Dick, and Harry, trying to keep up with the Cise's, the Banguras, and the Jalas, but forget their roots, their heritage, and their culture. And they would like to, a lot of Africans would like to judge Americans for, all what they've been through. But I don't know what it is either the fact that African Americans went through slavery and, being displaced and all those type of things. That's why they're so open to embrace other people. But I am so thankful and grateful that I am embraced by my African American family, because I was cast away by my own people. I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And, I think a lot of people, a lot of, strays, I guess they'll call us, a lot of strays, I think, are thankful to have, a lot of their African American friends and family members to support them and have their back. So these are my thoughts, these are my opinions. If you have your thoughts and opinions, I'll definitely love to hear them. Thank you for watching.